I'm going to reiterate that for everyone listening. He said his average ticket in plumbing is $2,000 plus. These are real numbers, by the way, people.
I just got an option for a water heater, like a tankless. Like they came in to talk about our toilet, and I have a $7,000 estimate on my table right now. And it's because the guy didn't explore it.
A lot of people think that they have a lead issue, but they don't have a lead issue.
No,
they actually have a sales issue.
They have a sales issue.
Welcome back to Owned and Operated. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Live in studio.
I'm in a studio that is beautiful with people. So, John, what's going on, man?
I think if you can get used to the fact, like we built a studio, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think if you can get used to the fact that this is like almost a television ready and there's 3 giant lights pointing in your face and a bunch of cameras,
multiple lights. I feel like a superstar.
I mean, you basically are a superstar in my mind. Well, you're from big city Nashville.
Very Z-list
Taylor
celebrity.
Swift.
If there's something below Z-list, like that's where I'm
double
shooting.
Z.
Double Z.
Or like double A.
Like you have to go through the alphabet twice.
Yeah, that tracks.
This is cool though. This is really neat studio, man. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, this is fun. So today, we're talking how to grow your plumbing business.
How to grow it. I'm in the middle of growing it, so I'm very interested in this
I was actually
topic.
really hoping you would teach.
Yeah, I'm presenting.
And I could listen.
We're in a fluctuation mode where we scaled up really heavily. So long story short, and I feel like this is the actual path that a lot of owners go through.
Okay.
Is we started plumbing. It did amazing.
Yeah.
One guy. Commission only structure.
Oh, I'm remembering the first couple podcasts. You're like, dude, I sold a tankless in my first 10 minutes.
We sold 2 tanklesses today.
Yeah,
We have a tankless and filter, and just like the margins on those things are crazy.
Yeah.
And we're still figuring out. So then we get, okay, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Plumbing is everything I wanted and more.
Yeah.
So we ramped. And got up to 7 technicians and a manager. 6 technicians and a manager.
Wow.
So 7 people total. And then what we found was we have so many operational holes that we can't plug them all. We're just losing money. And so we started like looking at gross margin and specifically in the department. And like we had the leads. It was October of last year. Like we had full schedules on the board, but we were just
not
money everywhere out, not in. And so we said, okay, we need to reduce.
Yeah.
So I think I actually called you a little bit before that. We cut construction. Remember?
Yeah.
You told me,
yes.
Jack, you just do it. And I went, you're right.
Yeah.
It's not going to take 6 months. It needs to take 1 week.
Yeah.
We cut construction. And then we rolled back everything and said, our focus now, until we get the systems right, is profitability.
Yeah.
So we need to get net up. We need to be profitable, and then we'll scale because we have systems in place.
Yeah.
So that's what we're in the process right now. Still difficult.
Yeah.
But moving in the right direction.
At Wilson, we've saved a stupid amount of money by having AI help out with our call center. And the best tool out there that's making that happen is Avoca. So look, you've probably heard the buzz about AI CSRs. They seem to be everywhere, but not all AI CSRs are created equal. And Avoca seems to rise to the top every time. They answer every call on the first ring, they sound just like a real person, and they don't take breaks. But here's what makes Avoca really interesting in the real world. If a caller's getting heated, like they're getting frustrated or annoyed, Avoca knows. It hears the tone, emotion, and hands the call to a real human, so you can still save that call. And this has been huge for us here at Wilson. There's no more churn or people yelling representative into the phone, and the backend is tight. It directly integrates into ServiceTitan at the gold tier level. That means it can handle reschedules, check tech arrival times, and look up customer info. It even helps with capacity planning. It's basically a CSR with perfect memory. On top of all that, it consistently makes our team better. We get post-call analytics, auto tagging, and coaching tools so that no matter who's on shift, we deliver for our customers. If you're curious, go to avoca.ai, AVOCA.ai.
Book a demo and tell them Owned and Operated sent you. When you're saying operational holes, can we boil it down a little tighter? Like you had leads, so you weren't selling the leads.
Correct. So we didn't have our pricing structure correct.
Okay.
So
was that where'd you get the price book?
So we went pricing internally, then Pricebook Pro.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a Pricebook Pro issue. It was understanding the market issue.
Okay.
Mixed with, I think the big mix though was not having the right people in the right places and not being able to train them fast enough on sales process.
Yeah.
Because that's where the issue came into place, right? Is I know that there's people selling. I was talking to someone in Denver today who's selling $5,000 40-gallon tank units. And I'm going, okay, so like people buy that in certain markets. Our market doesn't support that.
Yeah.
But I know that our pricing wasn't that much higher than market averages, maybe 12, 13%. And then after discounts for memberships and all this stuff, we have Hoffman in our market. I know what he's pricing.
What's he sell at 40 for?
I think he's somewhere in the 3,000 range, high 2,000s.
Yeah.
And we weren't far off. We were a little bit under. So that was my goal, was like Hoffman, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Not as much value, but not as much price.
Mm-hmm.
And so we tried pushing that, and we couldn't get belief from the team to be like, this is something that we can sell. This is something we can do.
Oh, interesting.
And so we tried training. We tried the whole 9 yards. And I think there was just a little bit of cultural cancer that took over.
Yeah.
So we culled that, retried, and now we're having less of those issues, but still issues.
Yeah.
So we're trying to work through them. They're actually really similar issues too. Like we sell IQ all day, every day.
Really?
IQ, indoor air quality.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and maybe this is a great question for you, is I feel like water quality should be an easier sell than indoor air quality.
Yeah.
Right? There's tests that show
Yep.
that you have chlorine in your water.
Yeah.
You're drinking it. It's going on your skin.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can do the finger chlorine swirl test. Like it's a very visual sales pitch
Yeah.
that I believe, at least for me personally, I would rather have better water quality than air quality. I can't see my air. I can't smell my air unless it's like baking. I'm cooking bacon or something. But like I just don't see the difference. But we sell indoor air quality every day, all day.
Yeah.
Because my HVAC guys are on top of it.
They get it. Yeah.
They get it.
Yeah.
Plumbers, I can't get them to get it.
Yeah.
I can't get them to get it. I whispered that.
Yeah.
They know the pitch because it's the same pitch.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, you do the full evaluation. You show them. You ask the right questions up front.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, do you have any problems with your drinking water? Do you taste anything? Do you feel like your hair is a little bit brittle? You know, any kind of feel on your skin? You know, all those kind of items. We also saw a reduction in like when we switched out of the original model, like we saw a reduction in tanked to tankless conversions, which was another like, hey, you're having issues with sales pitch. Yeah. Because the pitch for a tankless conversion should also be an easier pitch, in my opinion. You pay double, triple the price, but you get a 20-year unit, which is 3 times longevity,
Yeah.
as well as hot water on demand and as much as you want and more efficient. So like it's a no-brainer, I think, for most people. Am I wrong in that thinking?
I mean, no, I think that tankless makes a lot of sense. We only move like 1 tankless a week. So that's probably like a sales problem on our end.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna deconstruct this back
I know
a
I just
little
like
bit.
vomited all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot, but I feel like I want to make sure we cover like the core principle.
Because I think this is a big way to actually grow is, right? You get a lot of people out there that are selling $300 average tickets. It's very hard to grow on $300 an average ticket because you're not offering anything else.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think it's, not impossible, but yeah, I mean, we should always be optimizing for the larger job. And I think that's a part of what makes HVAC so attractive to people. And that's why we continue to, HVAC's been a challenge for us, but that's why we continue to push on it. It's because the average ticket's $13,000. Like the juice is worth the squeeze. And you can build a $100 million HVAC company just because like that $12,500 versus $1,000 average ticket and something else. It's a really big difference.
Yeah, definitely.
So when we, I'm gonna go into like, I'm gonna zoom back a couple steps, and then I think we can like dive in.
Sweet.
So I've always talked about our 3-step, lead, sale, fulfillment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the topic's growing a plumbing company, and all the problems it sounds like you're having is on the sales step, but we'll talk about all 3 steps real quick.
Yeah, of course.
Just so we can nail it. So when you're growing any business, obviously you already know this, but like there's 3 things you need to be optimizing for. One's the lead, and there's a ton of stuff inside the lead. Like, are we marketing? Are we branding? What's our uniforms look like? What's our trucks look like? Do we have a website? Is our GMB like half of our shit that we talk about on this show is like the lead. and just call center booking, which is another huge section that we talk about. And that's all the lead. Everything to do with pre-appointment, pre-visit, that is the lead.
Which it's interesting sometimes too, because I think a lot of people think that they have a lead issue, but they don't have a lead issue.
No,
they
not
actually
at all.
have a sales
They have
issue.
a sales issue,
So
yeah.
like when you look at how many leads a plumber should have on their schedule per day, what are you looking at as like an optimal amount?
Yeah, we've fluctuated over the years. I think right now we're at 3.
Yeah.
And that seems to be a good number. Now, granted, it'll modulate depending on demand,
Yeah.
either demand or someone's running behind, or we let sales drive the bus a little bit on that. And we've handed over some of our dispatching to like a software. So some of those day-to-day tactical decisions, I think, have just gone away. But I think that we're
Okay.
at 3. We used to optimize for 4.
Yeah, that's where we're at. We try to optimize for 4 a day.
Yeah, 3 seems to be what I see happen. And I mean, numbers are really high. Like we were, obviously we're here at my office. We're here. We didn't participate in the daily huddle today, but right now our plumbing department is giving yesterday's numbers. It was $69,000 sold.
Ugh.
I had one guy sell our entire plumbing budget yesterday, which is $35,000 a day. So like one guy, it was amazing. Anyway, so yeah, they're on a high over there. Yeah. All right. So the first step is the first step is lead, and the lead is like everything to do pre-appointment. So that's going to be your like how do you get a lead, how do you book the lead, and how do you handle the lead before you get there. So that's going to be marketing, call center, and dispatch. Those 3 disciplines are all the lead. The next step is the sale, which I totally agree. Like we're at the workshop right now, and a lot of people have opinions on current macro, and I'm like, respectfully.
That's how you know John's going to say something. Maybe a little bit mean.
Yeah,
just starts respectfully.
Maybe
because that fixes it all. Respectfully.
With respect, sir. You're a $5 million plumbing company, and people will always need to shit. Like the macro environment should not impact you that much. Like it just doesn't. It just doesn't.
Every house has a toilet.
Every house has a toilet. It just doesn't matter. So yeah, I think it's kind of an excuse. But so the sale is obviously the next part, and how do we go out and we sell the thing? And there's a ton baked into the sale.
Yeah,
we've talked about call by call, but like, hey, when we identify a problem. And we're a lot more on top of this now than we typically have been. I wish I could pull up. I got to get the computer so I can start pulling stuff up. But we're looking at one of 3 things. It's an options problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like either the options are bad or the number of options is bad. 2 totally different problems, and we can talk about it. Conversion rate's bad, but usually if conversion rate's bad, it's because options are bad. And then average ticket's bad, but if average ticket's bad, it's because options are bad. So here, all of our focus is on options. And there's even inside options, I think which sounds like that might be some of the challenge you're having.
Yeah, I'm actually convinced that's the problem we're having.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot to it. It's actually kind of complicated.
It's very complicated. Well, I'm going to step back. It's not complicated. What's complicated is training somebody who doesn't understand the pathway of options. Because, options is a simple process. And I'm saying this like I have this dialed in. So everybody knows that I'm the one who brought up this problem. But I know
No, we all heard your rant earlier.
I know what the fix is.
Yeah.
And the fix is, hey, you need to be earning those options to start.
Yes.
Right? You need to show up. You need to ask the right questions. You need to listen to the customer.
Yeah.
Which is...
You earn the right to offer options.
Yeah, you earn the right to offer. And that's through asking questions, talking with the customer, being a human being that cares about the systems in someone else's house. Yeah. And I think that's where we miss sometimes, or where we're currently missing, is we get this idea, and a lot of plumbers get this idea in their head of, I'm not going to offer the upgrade because either I don't believe in the upgrade or it's too expensive of an upgrade.
Yeah.
And they're putting their pocketbook, or they're putting themselves into the customer's pocketbook.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big misconceptions. I think they shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
Right. They need to step back and say, this is truly what's a win-win-win. A win for me as a tech. Mm-hmm. I'm offering the best options. I'm listening to the customer. I'm going to make the most money. I'm offering the person what they really should be getting, the final fix.
Or at least knowing about.
Or at least knowing about that.
I think that's the thing that drives me nuts.
Yeah.
is like, I am more like our customers than I am our field team. I have very little time. I am very happy to spend money to solve a problem so I don't have to deal with it again.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone comes out and I don't have time to meet people in the middle of the day to like, I'm, running a thing here. So if I do have to meet someone and like, it's only one option and it doesn't actually fix it, it's very annoying. Because I took time out of my day, which is very hard for me to do. Like I skip lunch most days. I pick up my kids probably too late and I'm here too early. Like it's hard to take time to go meet somebody.
You're optimizing for the solution, which is what you want. You want a permanent fix so you don't have to deal with this problem.
Or at least know what my options are. Like, what are all the different, like, let me choose. And if I'm willing to be annoyed, then great. But I'm probably not.
Yeah. And so I say the same thing. So one of our training techniques is trying to draw parallels. We say, if you show up at the Jiffy Lube and they do your oil, they do your filter, and they say, hey, we noticed your brakes are at 1 centimeter. Like they're about to go out.
Yeah.
Would you want them to give you that option and say like, hey, just so you know, we actually don't even do brakes. I'm just letting you know that your brakes are going out.
Yeah.
Or, hey, we do brakes and like you can get an appointment over here. It takes 15 minutes. But I would want to know that my car's brakes are going out in that case, or that my headlights are out, or any of the other things that can happen on a mechanical system.
Yeah.
It's like knowing that there's an issue there on my system, which is equivalent to your entire plumbing in your house.
Yeah.
I want to know about that. And then I can make those choices on the back end of, I'm going to go to a brake shop.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it done here because I have 15 extra minutes. And I think we miss that sometimes because they're too focused on, like, I don't want to offer this really expensive thing.
Well, I think what's kind of funny, this used to come up a lot more in call center, but our call center manager's done an awesome job of like getting everyone to understand.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think booking rate and I think conversion rate in the field. So booking rate, like when the call comes in, what percentage of calls do we book?
Yeah.
And then conversion rate, like of the calls we book, how many convert into a sale? And I think that those are like almost comical numbers to talk about, because if someone's calling, they want us at their house. Like that is why they're on the phone. Like people don't want to be on the phone. So if they're calling a plumber, they need a plumber. They want a plumber. Like, so booking rate should be very high.
Yeah.
Because they are calling because they want you. And
they have a problem immediately.
Yeah. So it's sort of like, we used to have these like discussions with call center and training. They're like, well, they didn't want anybody out. And it's like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
They called us. They want someone out. Like what you're saying, it makes no sense at all. And then conversion rate's the same thing. It's like they took time out of their day to understand the options about this problem. Conversion rate being at 40% doesn't make sense. Like they want this solution or need this solution, and they're investing their time into finding out what it is. Like a low conversion rate doesn't make, they're like, they didn't want to do anything. They just took time out of their day. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like they obviously want to do something.
They took off work to have you come to their house to listen to what you have to say is wrong with their system. And then they said, I'm good.
Yeah.
My toilet doesn't flush. I'm good. I'm just not going to touch it.
Yeah. It's this irrational, I think we preload excuses, but it's this irrational. And I think it's because we have so many like repetitions every day of like, I see 3 customers a day, 20 customers a week, whatever it is. And I talked to 50 customers today. And so I feel like we get these reps in our head and we're just like, they didn't want anything. It's like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? Of course they wanted something. Like that's why they're talking to us. But I do think it is a little complicated to figure out what people want. And I think that is what
that's probably where the issue is.
That's what takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So we're really grateful to be a part of Nexstar, and part of this is like a part of their Nexstar process, but in Certain Path had something really similar too. Mm-hmm. So like when you walk in, like how do you set the agenda for the call? I'm sure there's a million different ways to set the agenda. We just happen to be Certain Path and Nexstar members. But the first couple, like in the first 15 minutes, you sort of take control of the call. So you like reset control and you're like, hey, before we go look at that thing, let's just talk for a second. Talk about what we're going to do today. That way we're all aligned. Should take a minute. And then either through physically walking around and like examining the stuff and like, hey, let's check this other thing before we do this. We're going to check water pressure. You can also just do it with questions like, hey, how many people live here? Do you get enough? Whatever. And for Nexstar, it's called the Explore step.
Yeah.
So a lot of our training is on the Nexstar Explore step, which is exploring the problem so that you can then go to present options. I remember I told you the story, I think, of the company we secret shopped at one time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll repeat it just because it's hilarious. So we secret shop companies like, I don't know, once every 6 months or something. And we're just always wanting to improve. So, seeing how people do it is helpful. So we had this company out, and the guy who came actually interviewed for a job with us like a month before.
Yeah.
And we ended up turning him down. So that was kind of funny. He didn't recognize us because we sent someone random, but so he goes in and he's there to like look at a toilet or something. It's like, my toilet's broken, whatever, need an option for it. And he walks in, looks at the toilet, goes out to his truck, and he comes back in with like paper written options. And like one of them's like a tankless, one of them's a 50-gallon water heater, and one of them's a toilet, and one of them was like a service call or a membership. It was something like nonsensical. And it was just such a ridiculous, it was so ridiculous. I immediately got a text being like, yeah, so this is what happened. And I just got an option for a water heater, like a tankless. Like they came in to talk about our toilet, and I have a $7,000 estimate on my table right now. Mm-hmm. And it's because the guy didn't explore. He didn't ask questions. He didn't talk to them. He didn't understand.
It's a mix. Like the guy didn't explore, but also he has an initiative from his management team that says you need to provide
require four options,
no matter what.
Yeah.
And so he rather than doing the correct job and asking and going through the process, he skips the process, does the four options. They're sitting on your table, and it burns the customer.
This was such a big learning curve for us.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years ago, because it was the same thing. It was like, we need 4 options. And the thing is, you can measure number of options. Again, I wish I could pull stuff up. Next time I'll bring my laptop. But you can you can just report on that.
Yeah.
So it's very easy.
And Service Titan.
Yeah, Service Titan will say, Jobber, I'm sure they all say, hey, here's the number of options that this person presents on average. Mm-hmm. And that's that's a guiding metric for us.
Yep.
So if someone's performance is down, their options are down, like 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
So we look at that a lot, but we were requiring 3 options. So the options we would get is like, okay, well, so option number 1 is the service call, $89. It's option number 1. Option number 2 is
monthly membership cost,
or it's like the job that I came here for.
Yeah. And
then option number 3 is the job with a membership.
Yeah.
And those were the options. And it's like, well, like, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, that's one option. Like we're missing the point. Mm-hmm. So we hit the quantity. We didn't hit the quality.
Yeah. And so what do you say? Cause I know there's people listening that if they haven't tuned out already, they're going, oh, but I mean, how do you get more options, right? They call you in for a cartridge on a sink.
Yeah.
And how do you get more options? That doesn't make any sense. They said water heater's fine, everything's fine, no other options. How do you train your techs to move past that objection and conduct the full evaluation to grab those options?
So first off, cartridge in a sink, you've got the repair, you have the replace, and you have the upgrade. So that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So I can replace the cartridge. I can replace this faucet, like kind, or I can upgrade it to this bougie one with a pull down handle and pick a thing.
Yeah.
So that one's actually really easy. And you can do that with most repairs. I think it's more complicated when you run into like pinhole in the pipe.
Outdoor hose bib.
Right.
That's a good one. It's repair, replace, and then we generally do, if this one's out.
Yeah, you'd have water treatment, or maybe you add in a hot bib, or you can do a few different options there.
Yeah. The one we push on very hard is when we get cartridge issues. We say, hey, we have to check the water pressure, because a lot of times cartridges go out because of PRV issues.
Yeah, we check. Yeah, so water pressure is a thing around here.
So water pressure is a thing where we are too. We get 120, 130 PSI regularly.
You're built for 80.
Yep. Built for 80, 120, blowing things up. And I don't know why. You guys are just out here. Well, we have to check your PRV. And then sometimes we try to get under the house if there's an active leak or something like that. That's a very common one we try to do.
Yeah.
Just answer the phone is one of those phrases that's always easier said than done. I know it was hard for me in my business because the phone always rings while you're out in the field trying to get something done, or it's 8 p.m. and you're trying to get your kids to bed. Well, I have the solution for you. I'm extremely excited today to announce Quick Staffers, your go-to solution for building a high-performing, cost-effective customer service team. We are placing CSRs who have been pre-trained on proven home service SOPs and scripts, the same ones that Wilson and I use in our business. For a limited time, we're offering $500 off your initial placement costs for the first 10 signups. See link in the description below or head over to quickstaffers.com for more information.
Well, I think this is the whole point of Call by Call, which we've never really done like a full like how to do this episode.
Yeah.
But, our Call by Call managers like follow along to make sure options are good. And if I was going to sum up the job description of Call by Call, it's options. Like that is it. Like that's their job, is to make sure we have good options, that customers understand what they're buying, and that we can install. So that's their job. So they're following along with pictures. They're talking on the phone with text. Like, hey, before you go and present these options, let's just talk about it real quick. I saw this. I don't think you had this on your notes. Like, let's add that in. Or I see an option here that maybe you didn't, and this is what it is.
Yeah, we're trying to install that in a meaningful way because I could see where it would really drive the bus.
Yeah, it does a lot.
And so are your Call by Call local, overseas?
Yeah, they're local. Yeah. Office.
In the office?
Yeah.
And is it? Do they have a different position the rest of the time? Are they like a service manager, or is that their
That's
only
their
role?
jobs. Yeah, that's
That's
jobs.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's where part of where we run into some difficulty is like, how do you hold that extra headcount? The idea is they should drive the revenue with that, but
well, with option, and this is again how we do stuff. I don't know that we've ever done a full breakdown of our sales install either, but because of the way we do Call by Call and because of the way we do sales install, like it's meaningful. Our average ticket,
meaningful.
Yeah,
we should climb.
Our average ticket used to be like $1,100 or $900, which is still good, but like our average ticket in plumbing now is in the 2s, and our average ticket in electric is almost 3, sometimes in the 3s.
I'm going to reiterate that for everyone listening. He said his average ticket in plumbing is $2,000 plus.
Yeah. For March, which is down season for us, our average ticket in plumbing service was $2,050, and our budget was $1,900. So we beat budget by $150. It was a really big win.
These are real numbers, by the way, people.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm a real human.
This is real life, because that's not anywhere close to where our average tickets are. And most people, I think,
I haven't heard many companies that run an average ticket like ours, but we also run a pretty different structure. So I don't know. I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. And so we went over.
So
there's
so
three.
lead. Yeah. So when you're we're growing a plumbing company here. So we've got lead, which is everything pre-appointment. How are we marketing? How are we branding our trucks? What's our uniform? What's is our call center booking? Are we running SEO? Did we dispatch? Like, how do we do that? How do we think about that? And that whole thing that touches the pre-lead. And we actually, I know I've said this before, but I believe so strongly in this like 3-pillar of business that we reorganized the whole company to follow suit in this. Yeah. So the verticals, and I think this is just mentally for me, it makes sense, but it seemed to drive the business. I mean, we are up a lot, but so like the lead is like a whole section of the business. We call it inside operations.
Yeah.
So call center and dispatch are inside operations, and they're managed by one leader.
Yeah, it's a department essentially.
Yeah, it's a vertical, and then sales is a vertical managed by one leader with 4 sales managers. The call by calls, 50 reps, and then install is 50 installers managed by 3 install managers, one director at the top. So we believe so strongly in this like 3-pillar thing, and to me the answer in how do you grow any business, plumbing, HVAC, consulting, accounting, like it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
Where are you going to get the lead? How are you going to sell it? And who's going to fulfill the work? But yeah, for plumbing, it's I think really relevant. So yeah, so the sale is like, what's our sales training look like? What's our quality of options? Are we talking about what they should be doing? And what I find, and this is just me, obviously the whole industry disagrees, but I really find it challenging to hold like a conventional service tech accountable to sales if he's also doing install. Because then you've got sales, which is like call center dispatch, marketing, like a lot going on in there. And then in a normal plumbing company, it's the plumber is the salesman and the installer. And I just feel like that's really hard to, like, how do you train somebody to do all of that? Like realistically, how do you train someone to be a master craftsman that has like no callbacks and like really knows his stuff in a labor shortage? Yeah. Like, how do you find that human being when everyone else is looking for him that can also drive top of your business numbers? And I just don't think you can.
specifically too, because those guys that can do the sales and can do that really great plumbing
They're
job,
different human beings.
well, they go and they run their own company.
Yeah.
Because then they all have to pick up as the business side.
Yeah.
And generally that's what you see is like, I'm really good at sales. I'm really good at plumbing. I'm going to go start my own thing. And so they're high achievers to be able to get.
And then they come back 6 months later because they miss the first pillar, which was how do you get a lead?
Yeah, they miss the business side. But yeah, I'm with you on that one. It's very hard to find someone who is an excellent.
Well, and hold them accountable.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because when we're training, like obviously we're training on technical with our sales team, but we're really honing in on like, what's your output? What's your average ticket? What's your options? What's your conversion rate? And like, those are the metrics that we measure by. And it would be really confusing to add in like, oh, well, you were really slow on this install and you ran into overtime and your callbacks were whatever. Like, that's a lot.
Also kind of inefficient too, right? If you have someone who's really, really good at something. I mean, the HVAC market, I know this is about plumbing, but the HVAC market is a great example.
Great example.
Everybody
fights me on it. And then I'm just like, well, HVAC's been doing this for 2 freaking decades. Like,
they've done it so much so to the point where they've actually spun off a new position. They have their service, they have their installers, and they spun off a new position of comfort advisor.
Yeah.
Which is
selling tech. That's even another additional one.
Or selling tech and installer for the same reason. It's, hey, technicians are better if they're good at selling and they're good at the technical side. They understand the theories behind refrigeration and electrical troubleshooting. They're really good at this, but they're not very good at hucking units and cutting metal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the guys that love hucking units and cutting metal, some of the best guys around, that's what they love doing. They don't want to talk to a homeowner ever.
Yeah.
They just want to show up, throw the package unit in, and get to the next one.
Yeah.
And then comfort advisors are a whole different beast of they just love people.
Yeah.
A lot. And so at the end of the day, I agree. I think that splitting that up in plumbing isn't some kind of crazy idea that
the industry disagrees. I think we'll see more and more of it. We're the largest that we know of running this model. I mean, I made it up like 6 years ago. I've heard of some companies that are starting to try to run it at scale, which I think is really cool. But I mean, it's a big part of how we got our average ticket to be so high.
Yeah, it makes sense. Then, so the last piece is fulfillment. I know we're short on time, but on fulfillment, is there any, I mean, the real trick to fulfillment and growth is hiring just really good installers.
And compensating well.
Yeah,
I think that's been the hard part. That took us a long time to figure out because, when we really started growing like a lot, and this is 9 years ago, $1 million company, I didn't have leads figured out, but the first thing I tried to figure out was sales and like, how do I comp our team? And the target was, how can I pay this person $100, $150, $200,000? And how can I win in the process of doing that? Yeah. It's going to make recruitment easier. It's going to make retainment easier. So we took a tech first mentality, which we have mostly maintained. It gets a little more challenging, like as you bring in like outside leaders in. But we've been able, whenever we haven't maintained it, we've been able to reset it pretty quick. So tech first mentality. It's really easy on sales to commission people. Like that's never anyone's like hard part. Well, like, oh yeah, you just give them a piece of the pie. Like it's sales. I'm like, yeah, totally. Yeah. But we created an internal culture war for a while between sales and install because sales was doing kind of the easy job. They were selling, and there's a lot to sales. I'm not dogging it. Like sales is really important, but installers are the one that like they catch a lot of shit, and they should be paid very well to catch that. And so that was a real challenge for us to like, how do we get our installers are so valuable. They drive all of the revenue for the business. Like they're it. Yep. They're what like sales matters a lot.
Sales don't matter until it's completed and you're paid.
Yeah. So, but it's easy to pay salespeople. Like what percentage did you sell? What was your closing rate? Like it's easy to pay salespeople. Yeah. But installers was the hard part. So that was really the challenge for us is technical training. Like, look, if you're in plumbing, HVAC, and electric, like you probably know how to install. Like you know how to do this because that's what you grew up doing. But getting people paid really well was hard at first. But now our installers make a ton of money, which is just awesome. And that's made it so much better.
Yeah, less callbacks because they're more invested in doing a great job. Yeah. And it makes sense. And so that's the fulfillment portion and needs to happen and needs to happen.
Because you can hire the best because you can pay so much money. Yeah. Yeah. Which is great. And they deserve every dollar. Like the installers are the best. Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed.
So when you're growing a plumbing company, like, hey, what's leads? How do we get more? How do we book it? How do we dispatch it? Like honing in on those processes. Sales, like what's our process for sales? Certain Path's got a great program. Nexstar's got a great program. We're part of both. I know BDR's got something. Blue Collar Success.
Yeah.
It's a million.
Every best practices group.
It's a million
has
different ways to sell things, and they're all great. They're all great. I think just have a structure. Compensate your team well to sell. That's a big one. And if you can't compensate your team well to sell, like I'll talk to people and they'll be like, yeah, we've got this plus 1% or plus 2% or whatever on sales. And I'm like, all that's telling me is that you're underpriced because you can't pay your team very well if like that's actually how the structure works. And then fulfillment, just make sure that your installers get paid very, very well. Obviously there's some purchasing stuff going on in there too, but if you can pay really well, you're going to get great guys. And I think those are the three, pillars for growing a plumbing company. At the workshop, we were at dinner last night, and one of the attendees was like frustrated, and they said, "Man, we just don't have this stuff figured out. Like, I don't have this figured out. I don't have this top figured out. I don't have whatever." And it's like, well, yeah, no shit. Like, if you had it figured out, you'd be 3 times your size.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that you just said that you don't have figured out, I figured out at $21 million, and like you're 5. So yeah, no duh.
Yeah, don't
like,
beat yourself
it's
up.
okay.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it's okay. What I keep trying to tell everyone is this is my first year with a budget. We're going to do 30 this year. Like that's nuts.
And the amount of times that I've seen you do things, sometimes revert partially, and then redo something else. Like it is a trial and error process.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, definitely come into it with intent. Don't just rip Band-Aids and screw shit up. But sometimes you just got to figure it out.
Yeah.
You just got to figure it out. And I think having that framework is a really good framework to go off of. It's what we're trying to go off of. And like I said, I think I'm spot on with where we need our additional training at, and we're working on it. And so our hope is by the end of this year, another 100% year growth in the plumbing department once we
nail it,
line that out.
Yeah.
So
sweet. Well, good discussion on how to grow a plumbing business.
Plumbing. Hopefully I come back and I'm happy about plumbing again.
Yeah. Plumbing's the best. Like,
just like, I love you again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right
I love you. My sweet child, my sweet baby.
That's
my
sweet baby. I have an ugly baby right now.
Yeah, you do. You
needs to grow up a little bit.
You do. It does. Yeah, if you like what you heard, check out ownedandoperated.com.
Great segue.
Yeah, like and subscribe for more stuff exactly like this. Jack crying about plumbing.